Now time for the GeoGeeks, our regular segment where we bring in a subject matter expert to tell us what's noteworthy in one of our core ArcGIS products.
And bringing the heat this time is our ArcGIS Online GeoGeek, Mr. Brandon Wheatley. Welcome back to the podcast, Brandon.
Awesome. Hey, Maggie. Hey, Mark. So happy to be back. Thanks for having me again.
It's great to see you and hear from you again. And I know that you have something exciting to talk to us about today. We're talking all about the ArcGIS Web Editor. I know it's pretty new, so how about you just get us started with telling us what it is and what it can do?
Yeah, you betcha. Happy to be back and happy to be chatting about the ArcGIS Web Editor. I actually feel like this might have been what I was talking about the last time I was here. So great to revisit it and spend a little bit more time kind of diving into it. Because it's been out actually for a little bit now. It was first released in ArcGIS Online with the June 2024 update, and it's been available since September for ArcGIS Enterprise 11.3. And what I can tell you about the ArcGIS Web Editor is really the main goal is to provide an easy data editing environment for both our casual users all the way up to our powered users who are constant, frequent ArcGIS users and everywhere in between. And so one thing you'll notice is one way to help accomplish this nice streamlined edit environment is we've mimicked the look and feel of ArcGIS Online Map Viewer. So it's a familiar environment that should be comfortable to you and to most of our users while providing a 100% editing focused experience. So it's a little bit different than Map Viewer, but can do a lot of really great, powerful edits right out of the box. So you're going to get access to your classic edit tools to be able to create features, copy and paste existing features, of course, make those attribute edits so you can get into your attribute tables and change anything tabular, as well as being able to move existing objects, reshape them, so change the shape and looks and feels of your polygons or your lines, as well as doing things like split, merge, a lot of the common editing tools. But even more so into things once you're sketching new geometry, you'll have the ability to undo and redo your actions. So a lot of flexibility for your end user, as well as adding things like geometry guides or editing constraints when sketching as well. So if you're ever doing things like drawing new lines, polylines, and you want to specify an exact angle or a distance for that line segment, you get full flexibility when generating new features. More editing capabilities, things like snapping, absolutely included in this first iteration as well. So you can make sure that data accuracy is there. And for when you kind of get used to the environment and you start to become more proficient with the new ArcGIS map or web editor, you can start to leverage keyboard shortcuts. So keyboard shortcuts, very popular among our suite of ArcGIS products. And that's no different here with the web editor. Of course, there'll be your shortcuts for actually doing common editing tasks to bring up some of those tools that I mentioned, but you can actually use shortcuts in this case to enable tools to turn them on and even become active. You can use those keyboard shortcuts to open and access different panes in the environment. You can use them to navigate around your map with like the D-pad or your arrow keys, and even when applying editing constraints as well. So lots of flexibility in there with keyboard shortcuts when doing your edits. Definitely be sure to reference and check out the documentation. The full list of all those capabilities are out there already. And last but not least, of course, a variety of selection tools. Your classic rectangle selection, polygon selection. Got to have the fun lasso in there. Got to give our users the fun for that. But you're not stuck with just selecting features from a geometry perspective. You can select your features through a table, or when performing an attribute query. So lots of kind of really core editing functionality baked into this first release, which is great to see. And anyone out there that's a creator, professional, or a professional plus user type can start to take advantage of the ArcGIS Web Editor today, if you haven't already. So I'm really excited to kind of see and hear some more use cases with how you can access and jump into the Web Editor application. And for those of you looking to how to access this, if you go into any kind of hosted feature layer that is editable, right? It's got to make sure that you have that checked there in your settings, that it is editable. In that details pane where you would normally open that layer in Map Viewer, you should see a button right there that says Open in Web Editor as well. So you can access it right from any item's detail page, or of course from kind of that waffly chiclets menu where you see all the other applications that you'd normally access. Two quick and easy ways to get into the ArcGIS Web Editor, and really excited to hear and see some more examples of how our users are taking advantage of it so far.
Oh my goodness, Brandon. That is actually pretty remarkable how much you can do within the ArcGIS Web Editor, doing all of these core edits to your features. But I'm sure the questions coming up into mind, and especially in my mind, is like, can I do this all in ArcGIS Pro anyway? So this kind of leads to sort of the grander question of why would you use ArcGIS Web Editor over, say, ArcGIS Pro?
Yeah, you are correct, Mark. You're bang on in saying that, yeah, if you can access the web editor, you also have access to ArcGIS Pro and can perform obviously all of the same edits. But sometimes it's a matter of choosing the right tool for the right job. Just because I've got a Ferrari in the garage doesn't mean I'm using it to get groceries every time. Sometimes it's, picking the right tool for the job. And in this case, this is kind of the same kind of decision making you can come to. The first I'd say is probably purely out of convenience. Because it's an online environment and this tool is available for ArcGIS Online and Enterprise. If your data is already hosted in the cloud, whether it's online or enterprise, making changes to those layers and those hosted feature items is going to just be a lot easier. So you're already online, you can jump into the web editor, make those edits, whether they're geometry or tabular, and just kind of sync those changes right there, and everything remains in the cloud and you're good to go. It's not hard to jump into ArcGIS Pro, make those changes and re-upload them or, overwrite that web layer. But is it save some time and a little bit easier to do it online? Yeah, absolutely. So there's that really from a convenience point of view, but you also have to think of maybe who's doing these edits and the type of person that's performing these, because it is a less complex environment overall than ArcGIS Pro. Right? As I mentioned, the whole point of the web editor environment is to provide a streamlined, simplified experience. And maybe you're more of a casual user that isn't really familiar with ArcGIS Pro, right? A lot going on in there, a lot of tools, a lot of different things that can kind of get caught in that you don't need. So maybe you want that more streamlined experience of the web editor. So it's really about choosing the best tool for the job. But if I can go on a little bit more, I'll say that just because it's not as maybe powerful as Pro doesn't mean it doesn't come with some of the really great handy features that you can take advantage of. Things like contextual toolbars, right? We know that in ArcGIS Pro, that's really big and really helps make that environment really powerful and easy for the end user. You're in a certain tool or you've selected the right thing, and then a series of options become available based on that selection. Well, the ArcGIS Web Editor works the same way. So there are contextual toolbars right in the web editor. For example, when making a selection, a subset of tools or options are then going to become available. For example, if you select two polygons that are in the same layer, the merge tool is going to kind of become available and active for you, because that's a common workflow that's available when selecting two polygons in the same layer. So there's lots of great ways that the web editor is still simple, but still very powerful and streamlines your editing process. It can also help maybe save a little bit of your own time. If you're somebody that has a lot of things going on, yeah, you could do the edits yourself, but maybe there's somebody else in your team that could help share that workload. So you could pass those simpler edits off to somebody else on your team. You can stay in ArcGIS Pro and do some more heavy lifting, and then have those edits passed back to you and are ready for you when you're done. I'd also be remiss to mention you can do edits in Map Viewer currently, right? You can get in there and make an edit or create a feature in Map Viewer as it stands. And you can also do edits in the edit widget in Experience Builder. So there are two other ways to still perform edits online, but I think you'll find those are really quite simple edits compared to the new capabilities in the ArcGIS Web Editor. It is going to be more powerful. There's more capabilities there. So think of it kind of as a step between those different options. And really, that's what it is. It's just flexibility to give you, as the end user, more options and more variety for your data and your workflows.
Wow, you've given us a lot of detail on that. Thanks, Brandon. It really helps to understand sort of why and who is going to use the web editor. So great to have all that information. And because we're really always greedy for information, especially what's new, I know a new update of ArcGIS Online is coming any day now. So maybe you can give us a sneak peek of what's coming for the ArcGIS Web Editor.
Yeah, I rode that same boat. I'm always looking to see what's coming next and what's some sneak peeks. So I'm happy to peel back that curtain a little bit. There are going to be some more updates with the November ArcGIS Online update release. So there are some things and changes coming to Web Editor. The first of which is going to be the capability to overlay a grid. So you're going to be able to overlay grids of different shapes and sizes to your editing environment, which is certainly handy, especially when doing a lot of feature editing. And you're also going to be able to snap to those grids. So it's not just a visual thing. You're actually going to be able to interact with them to help increase your data quality and overall performance. And a really handy feature for those that'll be leveraging it on the ArcGIS Enterprise side of things is you'll be able to leverage custom URL parameters. For those of you familiar with the URL parameter, you usually have like a long ID string for your ArcGIS Online hosted item. And your web maps also kind of have a specified URL parameter. Well, when working with the web editor environment, if you want to send somebody an area to go and work on, and it has maybe a defined extent, you can actually add those parameters into the end of your URL, and it's going to set that defined extent for when your colleague goes in to perform edits on that web map. Same thing, you can also have it zoom to a specific location in the map or a specific feature. And there's great documentation out already about how to actually go through and use each one of those. So when that feature comes out, you'll be geared with all the information that you need to set up even more specified environments for different types of edits. And one other thing that I did here, which I've been able to confirm, I can't say when, but it is on the roadmap. So I'm very excited to also let everyone know that batch editing will be coming to the ArcGIS Web Editor. I know it's something a lot of people have been asking for, and it is common in a lot of workflows. So it's something we're happy to be made aware of. It will be in a future release. I can't exactly say when, but it's on the roadmap. And I'm sure many more ideas and many more things that our community is thinking of that they would love to see. And we would love it if you would continue to let us know. Keep letting us know what you think of the web editor. If you want to see any more improvements or things in it, let us know in on the online community user forums where you can kind of submit some feedback and some ideas. Would love to know and to think of what else you would like to see. But those are some things that I know that are coming down. I'm super excited to see where this product goes and where our users continue to take it. And thanks for letting me kind of go off there about it. As you can tell, I'm super excited. And I can't wait for everyone else to get their hands on it as well.
For sure. You could go off anytime you want, Brandon, with all of this fun, interesting stuff. So we really appreciate you taking a few minutes to kind of walk us through the ArcGIS Web Editor. And hey, once you come back in a few weeks, you can tell us about all the other stuff that's new in the latest ArcGIS Online release.
Awesome. I can't wait to come back and chat with you guys and to see what comes next. This was great.
Brilliant.
Thank you again for the time today.
No, thank you very much. The legend, that is Brendan Wheatley. He is our ArcGIS Online GeoGeek, but his business card says Technical Solution Specialist on the marketing team, and he joined us from his palatial estate in Midtown Toronto.